핀 경기장 도시양.
All right, guys, welcome to game number 2 of the lower bracket finals here at IPL Team Arena Challenge 2. And in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have our red Cirque player from the team NSHoSeo. That is Seal. His opponent in the upper right-hand corner, excuse me, our blue Terran player and winner of the first game of the set is oGs.Fin. And here we are in this crazy post-patch ghost nerf world, and we'll see what Finn plans to do in this game.
Very true.
This is a map that, I bring that up because this is a map that lends itself to a lot of late-game TVZs.
Well, just today, too, I was talking to Vive, one of my teammates on Gosu, and we were talking about Stefano's style that he's been doing lately, where he goes for really, really fast Broodlords on 3 bases, and Terran is having a really hard time dealing with it just because of the Ghost nerf and some other things. But yeah, Terrans are kind of like changing things up in the late game. It's causing them to kind of lose a little bit more than usual. So I think it's something we're going to see Zergs kind of try to take advantage of for a little while at least. I mean, I'm sure at some point Terrans are going to find out, you know, what the right thing is to do now, and then that'll kind of stabilize. But for this particular period in StarCraft 2, Zergs do have the upper hand in the late game.
And we'll see what Finn does in response, though. And I imagine he's going to do, yeah, there's gas, so some form of a reactored Hellion expand. That part of the game, at least we can be sure of, is still going to be pretty normal for a while.
Yep.
And, let's see, it looks like Seal is going to open with a hatch first. No real surprise. He'll have to defend against the early Hellions, of course, but it's really what he plans to do after that, how quickly he throws down multiple gas, how many drones he drones up to, if he takes a third base. Those are the real questions we'll be asking here soon.
You know, I feel bad about this, but I'm secretly kind of hoping that Finn wins because I love watching his TVP. And if he beats Seal, they kind of have to send out a Protoss unless they send out Jockji. So yeah. I'm not rooting against Seal, but in the back of my mind, I'm kind of like, well, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if he went up 2-0. But you know, Seal has had some pretty solid games.
Seal has played really, really well, and you know, he's had a couple of unfortunate games as well. He performed really well against Empire, but if you guys remember, he actually came up against the brick wall that was Empire Violet in a ridiculous CVC on Atlantis Spaceship, where Seal tried to be very aggressive off of a 10 pool, I believe it was, and even on Atlantis Spaceship, as big as that map was, and Violet somehow with an expand build perfectly held. It was unbelievable.
Violet even lost his spawning pool that game as well, so that was really down to the wire for a little bit in that ZVZ. It was a very exciting game, so definitely go back and watch that one if you can. And look at this, Bunker not going to finish quite yet. That SCV taking a lot of harassment. He's really trying. That SCV is trying to build that building with everything he's got. Never mind, he's given up now.
Yeah. Marine quits firing at the Overlord too. Apparently he's satisfied. So
that's right. He's like, well, that bunker's never going to finish. But look at this. It does block a little bit of mining. Obviously, it doesn't matter because there's not enough drones yet there for it to matter, but kind of funny. You know, back in like Brood War, you used to see like pylons blocking some mining and things like that from time to time. But we don't really see that a whole lot in StarCraft 2 just because of the unit path. You can go around it much easier.
And Finn does eventually cancel that bunker there, so it's not going to prove to be too big of a nuisance for much longer, or for any longer, I should say. And there is an expansion coming out now as our first 2 Hellions are about to hit the field.
Yeah, so now the last ZVT we saw on this map, I believe, was Jockji versus Leenock just a couple days ago here.
Yes.
And that one was pretty interesting because Jockji opened with a reactored Hellion expand like this, but then he actually went into 2-port Cloaked Banshee, and Leenock was just not expecting it one bit, and just was basically killed by the Banshees at that point. So that was kind of a weird build, a little bit more rare, so I don't think we're going to see that from Finn, but it's kind of interesting to see what different builds Terrans are trying on this map now.
Yeah, to me, that also seemed very much like an anti-Leenock build, maybe not necessarily an anti-Zerg on Daybreak build.
Yeah, to a certain extent, it definitely would be, yeah.
Just because those 2 players, of course, had to prepare explicitly against the other one for the GSL Code S Finals a couple of months ago, but here we have things now. As Evolution Chamber comes up to the front, Spine Crawler already prepared, and of course Seal's going to have pretty good coverage with those Queens as well, so those first couple of Hellions not going to do too much. And for GG, he has produced 2 more Hellions, and he's got a couple more coming up after that.
Yeah, now this is kind of interesting. He's excuse me. He's actually going for that very fast 3rd command center. So he's going to try to get a very good economy going early on by just saturating his main and natural very, very quickly, having lots of mules out there, and just making a ton of stuff on 2 bases and then taking a third later on when he feels safe. But a good build by Finn. It's certainly a big enough map to kind of get away with that type of thing. And wouldn't be surprised at all to see him go into Medevac Marine for a little while before adding on the tanks as well. That's kind of the standard these days in Korean TVZ.
What kind of crazy world do I live in right now where Terran players are regularly in standard games out-expanding their Zerg opponents at the beginning of the game? My faith in the world has been shattered.
It's okay. It's just Terran. Don't worry, it's just Terran.
I suppose so.
That's how the saying goes, I think.
I like the part where he made Banshees and won. That was the best comment from the live report thread yesterday.
That was my favorite part. Yep.
Me too. We give it 2 thumbs up.
That's right. There's another one that was, I like the part where he made Banshees and Bansheed. Something like that.
That was pretty good as well.
Yep. +1 Carapace on the way here for Seal, as well as a Baneling Nest and a Lair. So not playing that Stefano style or anything like that. Just kind of playing typical safe ZVT, you know, getting the Baneling Nest, getting that +1 Carapace, as I mentioned, that all adds up to a very solid mid-game. You know, you're going to have Zerglings that can take a little bit more punishment. You can make Banelings as you tech up for Lair if you need to. You can see 4 defensive Banelings coming in already right now for Seal. So he's just kind of saying, all right, I'm just going to try to make it so that you can't kill me at all while I'm on 2 bases. I want to at least get my Spire started, then think about taking a third, and then kind of go from there. So Seal just really playing safe at this point more than anything. Oh, but he does manage to catch those Hellions.
Yeah, he gets one for sure. Finn trying to back himself into a corner, which he successfully does, so it's going to be a little bit harder for these. Oh, wow, no,
good
actually.
Surface area for the Zerglings, yeah.
I take it back. I thought Finn was going to try and escape there before the Zerglings went around, but he did not. Thus, all his Hellions do die.
Yeah. 2 engineering bays coming up for Finn as well, so he's going to be going for some pretty heavy upgrades. There's a Spire now for Seal, and, you know, he's kind of succeeded in his mission at this point. He is very safe. He's even getting to be a little bit mobile around the map with those Lings after he killed those Hellions as well. Taking that third now.
Spire is indeed coming up. This hatchery is scouted, though, by Finn. Then it looks like, bye-bye Hellions. Banelings dealing with those very effectively.
I will say, too, if you're a Zerg player out there that struggles in ZVT, this style that Seal is playing is a great style to learn. You're under no pressure to really expand quickly. I mean, a lot of players feel very nervous about putting down that third. It seems very far away from your base when you're just kind of starting out, but definitely study this game and kind of try to emulate what Seal does. You know, you can see that he's stayed very, very safe this game. Finn hasn't been able to really get in and do any damage at all, and now that he's taking that third, it's much more comfortable for him. So I think this style is actually one of the best styles for newer Zerg players to kind of pick up and learn as some of their early ZVT experience.
And we'll see how Finn wants to try and move into his third eventually. He's been sitting on this macro orbital command, is what it's amounted to for quite a while now. And in fact, already has 57 workers off of 2 bases. So he's with this 3 more SCVs that are popping up, as we do see 8 Mutalisks now on the way for Seal. He's getting to that point where he's going to have to take another base, and where will he feel comfortable enough doing that?
That's a good question. A lot of Terrans have been taking that base that's a little bit more forward, just to the right of where you are right now. There it is. That's been the base a lot of Terrans have tried to take and just kind of hold, because it kind of creates this sort of defensive triangle, whereas this base is kind of on the outside. He's going for it anyway, and a lot of players do still try to take this. Oh, but look at that. Burrowed Zergling there, so he's going to need to scan to get rid of that. Yeah. And this burrow is going to definitely be something that Finn is going to need to worry about as far as Banelings go, too, later in the game.
Yeah, Finn had already made an orbital command. I mean, obviously, this one you'd love to have a planetary fortress sitting there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a good point.
As you can block off attack paths and such. But Mutalisks apparently disgusted that they haven't killed anything yet, so they have to go after the destructible debris. We have to watch out for the missile turrets, though. Already some damage being done. The Mutalisks really haven't accomplished quite a lot yet.
Yep, just kind of doing a little bit of harassing. There's not a huge amount of pressure to do damage with these Mutalisks, you know, right away. The biggest thing is just to kind of keep tearing into their base, but it's tough to. As you can see, it looks like Finn might decide to move out here anyway. It's kind of a feint, though, because he really just needs to get this third base secured before he thinks about doing anything else.
Yeah, it looks like he does have it down now, but secured? We'll find out about that in a second. Yeah. We'll probably see some missile turrets, and I've seen some players, you know, that go ahead and they even supply depot this off. Supply depot wall this, or supply depot in a couple of bunkers just to make sure that they don't get killed by circling run-bys.
Not a bad idea either way. Yeah. You know, you see so many people just putting their supply depots in the back of their base, kind of like that. And, you know, they could be much more useful in certain situations as part of your wall and stuff. I mean, yeah, if they get destroyed, obviously you need to remake them. You might get supply blocked, but I feel like supply depots are kind of the most underused building in Terran right now. You know, they're not used correctly yet.
Oh boy, it's a fair number of banelings coming up. He'll have 19 as soon as these all hit. Seal expanding to his 4th at the same time, and we're not quite late game, as obviously the infestation pit is only coming up. We haven't seen Hive yet, but we are pretty stable, and there's a possibility we're going to move into that late game.
Yeah, this is pretty classic Mutiling play from Seal. You know, again, just trying to do that harassment with the Mutalisks while he slowly builds up a nice big Zergling Baneling force as well. And you can do things like he's doing, where he's planning on attacking that 3rd there and denying that. Oh yeah, there's the infestation pit, like you said, getting the pathogen glands. I almost said passionate glands again. And the hive. So yeah, you can go to Broodlords from this as well.
Passionate glands.
The passionate glands.
Yes. Calicabasis. All right.
Oh, this is an interesting place to attack for Seal.
Oh, yes, it is. The siege tank spread is really, really good. The Mutalisks were swinging behind like normal. This is what we usually do, right? Oh, God.
That's a questionable decision. I would have thought he would have gone for the 3rd much sooner. He did manage to burrow a couple of banelings there, as we can see. But, yeah, attacking up that ramp with that narrower choke usually doesn't work out terribly well.
And Seal swinging around the right-hand side now. Fin starting to clear up some creep tumors on the map, which I've got to say, taking a look at that creep.
That is a good creep spread.
Yeah, for 15 minutes, Seal has been very diligent about that.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And Fin will need to burn some scans to get rid of that. He might catch a couple of those banelings while he does it as well.
Oh, we'll see. He may run over it, but we have a big counterattack. Siege tank going to fall very quickly. The banelings not wasting themselves on the orbital command quite yet, just taking out a good number of the SCVs. There are a fair number of Marines up on the high ground. Man. Will he be able to get the engagement he wants? They're tearing through the Zerglings. Zerglings now going to move into the natural. There's still a couple of banelings, but they do go down very quickly. However, Seal did take out that all-important 4th base.
Yeah, that was really, really nice for Seal to get in there and take out the 3rd. That's awesome that he was able to do that. And now he just kind of falls back, makes more lings and banelings as he continues to get upgrades. And now Fin's under a lot of pressure to attack, and whenever you're attacking on your opponent's timetable, you kind of imagine that they're a little bit ready for it. Nice fungals there as well. Oh, banelings being used on the tanks. A little bit surprising there.
Yeah.
It does take them out, though.
Still a lot of anti-air. Oh, God.
Did you see the banelings?
Those banelings?
Oh,
he did. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and it looks like Fin is going to re-deny a base of his own, but of course he is only down to 2 command centers right now, and Seal is still sitting on 4, so a base for a base will not work for Fin. He has to do more with this attack.
Yeah, that's right. He needs to really make this go far. Scanning a lot, denying a lot of creep spreads, so that's nice. He'll be able to kind of reduce that now at this point.
And he is going to take out this base over here at the top while continuing to press at the 3rd as well. But Seal starting to get in position.
Yeah, he's got the Infestors there as well. Here he goes. The Infestors out in front. That's dangerous, but he's got so many banelings with this.
Yes, he does.
Might be able to get through and do this.
I don't know. It looks like the Thors are finally going to fall. Fin does get his whole army cleaned up. He did manage to take out another base, though. So sitting on 3 bases to 2, actually, with his 3rd command center now done, is not as bad as it was before. But still, Seal has a very well-upgraded army, and he is still with a comfortable supply lead.
Yeah, his economy is just looking quite a bit better at this point than Fin's as well. You can see Fin can't even land his command center there. Yeah, 30 more workers. A lot more minerals coming in right now for NSHoSeo, so he's going to be able to remake that big Zergling force along with the banelings much quicker here.
Let's see if that becomes a planetary fortress this go-around. No, another orbital command. So Fin feels he can really hold on to that once the added benefit of the mules and scans.
Yeah, he kind of needs to take that risk. If you made a planetary, like you said, you could really use those scans because of all the burrowed banelings. So you kind of have to go with the planetary in this case, even though it is a little bit tougher to hold.
And we'll see if these Zerglings swing back on through. There's a couple of tanks ready for them. I don't know if the Marines are going to be enough. The tanks, they do take a good chunk out of the banelings, and it appears that's enough to turn Seal around.
Yeah, you know, if he split up the banelings, he probably could engage that force right now, but I think he's just trying to play it safe. You know, he's restarting that 4th and 5th base again, just kind of keeping Fin in his base, making sure that when he does finally have to attack, he is able to remax very quickly.
That was a great fungal growth there as well as a nice job. I don't know if he intentionally was swinging up the Mutalist just to get Fin to try and bite with a good pack of Marines, but if he was, it certainly worked.
Yeah. Let's see, Corruptor's now coming out on the field for Seal, so he will be moving into those Broodlords soon, and Ravens on the way for Finn, actually. Just one Raven at the moment, but
yeah,
this is kind of a unit that we're kind of expecting to see a little bit more often in the late game. Probably going to see him start manufacturing some Vikings as well. Of course, Raven can be used for point defense drone to deny those Corruptor shots. Let the Vikings take out the Corruptors, then take out the Broodlords. And, reducing Caduceus Reactor for just a second, but I wonder if he wanted to do Seeker Missile instead. I can only hope.
I can as well. All right, well, the drop is picked up on. Seal is well aware that that's coming. He has Overlords pretty much everywhere. And my God, this creep spread, I can't say it enough. There are actually 2 drops going down for Finn, but look how close it is to his opponent's base. It's actually sitting inside of his 4th, inside of his main.
Yep.
Oh, very close.
Almost
just on the edge.
Well, it's kind of in his natural just a little bit here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the creep spread about as good as you could kind of hope for. Oh, and the Mutas, are they going to see the medevac?
It looks like they have.
Oh, yeah, they do see it. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's going to get a chance to drop the Marines off.
Yes, he is.
He does, but he keeps flying. Doesn't drop them in one place, and between the Lings and the Mutas, he's going to be able to handle that quite easily.
Yeah, that's going to go down here. Unfortunately for Finn, he is starting to slowly catch back up in supply. He's just sitting on that 1 Raven for now, and has not gotten any upgrades associated with that quite yet.
Yep. Raven is indeed online. I want a Raven. A personal Raven.
A personal Raven?
It's a cool robot.
Oh, wow.
Nice little attack there.
Catching the Raven. Bye-bye, Raven.
Oh.
No personal Raven for Finn anymore.
Guess not. Oh, well. Yeah, he has to scan to take out some of the creep tumors, but it's kind of rough when you're having to scan like just outside your own base for this.
Now, he decided consciously not to produce any more workers, really. I mean, he did make 2 more the entire time, but that's pretty inconsequential. He wants to really have a giant army when he goes up against this composition from his opponent. Oh, God!
Great fungal growth.
Oh, man, that was just utter devastation there. Finn, he is going to have to work really hard to recover from that, as his Marine force was just obliterated.
That army just literally disappeared, and that Marine disappears as well.
All right, well, you had a medevac overhead. The medevac decided not to save him.
Ultralisk's on the way now from NSHoSeo, so feeling that he's far enough ahead to switch into this as well. And it can be a good switch if your opponent's kind of gearing up for Broodlords, and it will be tough to deal with. He doesn't have any Vikings out. GG.
There it is.
Yeah, right away. Finn not prepared at all for those Broodlords, and that is it. NSHoSeo taking out Finn in game 2.